Everybody's getting deported, and I mean every single illegal alien. Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, a lot of news to talk about today. Obviously, huge Senate Majority Leader race. The election is going to be done again in secret between three candidates, or three candidates are battling it out. John Thune, senator from South Dakota, John Cornyn, senator from Texas, and of course, Trump loyalist, MAGA conservative, Rick Scott. Already, the pressure campaign from Kuhner country and from people tied to Elon Musk and others has picked up votes for Rick Scott. Marsha Blackburn, senator from Tennessee, yesterday came out and said, no, I was misunderstood. I'm not going to vote for Thune or Cornyn. I'm voting for Rick Scott. So some votes now have shifted in Scott's favor. We shall see what happens. The vote will be today at 9:30 a.m. So again, the person that finishes third is automatically out, and then it will be a two-person race. Hopefully Scott will at least finish second and turn this into a dogfight. If he does, I think the rhino globalists could be in trouble. So obviously, big story today. Trump is meeting Biden in the White House. Another big story today. Big picks by Trump. Pete Hegseth, Fox News co-host, has been chosen to be the defense secretary. A huge decision. And obviously the one that's really has liberal heads exploding all across the country. Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, it is now official, have been named to something called DOGE, the Department of Governmental Efficiency. Trump now says it is the Manhattan Project of our time when it comes to streamlining, making the government efficient, cutting waste, fat. The federal bureaucracy is going to be reduced and shrunk by at least 25, if not 50%. So just massive, huge news stories on almost every front. But the one in particular that has the globalists really concerned, and that has the liberal media on the verge of an absolute, complete meltdown, is now Trump and his border czar, Tom Homan, their open vow and commitment, saying that on day one, literally the second they come into office, they are going to begin the greatest, largest mass deportation of illegal aliens this country has ever seen. Millions, and Homan is saying it will be millions, are going to be rounded up and deported and sent back to their country of origin. Now, to set everything up, Kuhner country, yesterday on the show, the final call that I had, the final call that we took, maybe at about 9:53, 9:54, from a very nice young man, John was his name, from New Hampshire. And John called and said, look, Jeff, I've been listening to you for many years, big fan, voted for Trump, huge supporter. However, I'm worried about this pledge for mass deportations. And in particular, here's what John said. Yes, go after the gangbangers. Go after the drug dealers. Go after the violent illegal alien criminals. But he talked about a woman that he knew, who he says came into our country illegally. The way he described it, somewhere from, I believe, Central or South America, and said, she's not on welfare. She's not taking government benefits. She's working now at a job, $14 an hour. And if she goes back to the country of her origin, it's a violent country. It's a dangerous country. It's not going to be good for her. It's not going to be good for her family. She fears being returned back. It's not fair. And so John made the case, and I got a lot of reaction from you on that these kinds of illegals that were, as he put it, invited in by the Democrats. She was invited in by Biden, by Kamala Harris, by Mayorkas, who come to this country, who are working, who have jobs, who want to contribute, pay taxes. We should exempt them from any mass deportation. And according to John in New Hampshire, should in fact be rewarded with a pathway to amnesty or to citizenship, because we can turn people like that into natural Republicans. That if Trump was to show a lot of heart, a lot of generosity, a lot of compassion to these kinds of illegal aliens, he could turn all of them, or many of them, into natural Trump Republican voters. Now, my response and rebuttal, we were at the end of the show, so I didn't have much time to elaborate, was, in essence, a squatter is a squatter is a squatter. She came into this country illegally. She's taking a job from an American she has no business taking. And I'm sorry, but you have millions and millions and millions of people from all over the world who are willing to come here and work for 14, 15 bucks an hour, who are doing it the right legal way. And yet she's jumping the line and they're waiting patiently. So and they're not being allowed in because we're allowing all these illegals to take their place and do these jobs. So why should we reward people who have violated our sovereignty, broken our law, and not respected the rules and laws of our country, while punishing legal or wannabe legal immigrants who are waiting in line, who are respecting our laws, who want to come into the country the right way, so they get punished while people like her get rewarded? I said, no, I'm with Tom Homan. I am with Donald Trump on this all the way. Every illegal that came in must be deported, full stop. I'm not interested in people's sob stories. And that's how the show ended, okay? Now, I want to bring this up because this is the blowback that Homan and Trump are getting, which is, look, we can't intellectually challenge you on going after MS-13 or Tren de Aragua or fentanyl or the drug dealers or convicted criminals or child molesters or murderers or rapists. We can't. But people like this who come into the country and are working and say they want to stay and be legalized and pay taxes and contribute, they're saying that this is going to lead to massive opposition among the American people, and that Homan and Trump should, in other words, don't go beyond phase one. Phase one, go after the violent illegal alien criminals, go after the gangs, go after the drugs, go after MS-13. Yes, secure, seal the border, but leave the rest alone. If their only crime was to come in illegally, then the American people will not put up with sending them and their families back. That's the argument that the media is making. The Wall Street Journal editorial page is making this argument. Many establishment Republicans are making this argument. Privately, it's what John Thune and Cornyn are arguing. Listen now to Tom Homan. Here's a montage of him on Fox saying, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care what the left does. I don't care what the rhinos do. I got a job. That job is to not just secure the border. It is to send back home every single illegal alien that entered our country. Roll cut 39, Mike.
Frankly, I don't care what people think about me, especially on the left. So I don't care what anybody's opinion is on illegal immigration. When you create a crisis this big, all these other bad things happen. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Border security is national security.
So he says that it's a question of national security. It's a question of national sovereignty. It's a question of upholding the rule of law. It's a question of upholding our republic. Now, he has in particular thrown down the gauntlet to Maura Healey, Hold It Healey, and Gavin Newsom. Those two in particular, who are vowing, as you know, they have vowed all-out resistance, saying that they are not going to cooperate with the deportations at all, and that they're going to do everything in their capability, everything that is possible, everything in their capacity to resist these deportations, to block these deportations. Healey has said she has ordered the state police, you will not cooperate or collaborate. You will not cooperate with ICE in any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form. And that they will consider this an invasion should the Border Patrol or ICE agents or law enforcement or the military come in and start rounding up criminal illegal aliens. Homan has a message for Healey, for Gavin Newsom, and for other blue state governors. I've got that. Your reaction next. 620 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer. 617-266-6868. Okay, so listen now to Tom Homan, border czar, and I love this pick. I think Trump has made some outstanding picks. I think this is one of his best. Homan now is essentially going to be quarterbacking, overseeing pretty much all of Trump's border, immigration, deportation agenda. And that's why, by the way, Homan was not given Department of Homeland Security, because Homeland Security is such a huge portfolio. You got to have, you deal with FEMA, the Secret Service. There's so much that comes with Department of Homeland Security that it's not Tom Homan's expertise. But the border, immigration, that's his wheelhouse, as they say. So Homan is going to be the top guy answering only to Trump. And so Homan has now dropped the hammer. Here is now what he is telling Maura Healey, Gavin Newsom, Pritzker out in Illinois, and Kathy Hochul. All four of these blue state governors have said, we will block, resist, and not cooperate with any attempt to deport illegal aliens. We don't care how violent they are, how the level of criminality, or how dangerous. Listen now to Homan saying, we're coming, and you better get out of the way. Roll cut 40, Mike.
Is there a plan if sanctuary cities, these city councils don't allow the sanctuary cities to go away? Is there a plan B you have?
Well, I think, look, it'd be great to have local law enforcement assist ICE because, one thing we learned during 9/11 report was we shouldn't have stovepipes. Law enforcement should work with law enforcement. But, there's two things. Number one, under President Trump, he was suing the sanctuary cities, DOJ suing the sanctuary cities, pulling federal funds. Of course, day one, when Joe Biden came in office, he stopped that lawsuit. So that has to be put back in place. And look, I've seen some of these Democratic governors say they're going to stand in the way. They're going to make it hard for us. Well, a suggestion. If you're not going to help us, get the hell out of the way, but we're going to do it. So if we can't get assistance from New York City, and we may have to double the number of agents we send to New York City because we're going to do the job. We're going to do the job without you or with you.
With or without you. We're going to do it. So, it was a little broken up in there, in that clip. But what Homan said was, we're going to start suing these sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. We're going to cut off all federal funding. And if we're going to get resistance, and he mentioned New York City, but you can Boston, Chicago, take your pick, LA. If you're going to resist us, we're just going to, double or triple the number of agents we're going to send in. We're going to go in heavy, but we're not going to stop. You're not going to deter us. So he's now pressed on 60 Minutes. So he goes on 60 Minutes. And right away, notice now, when it comes to deporting illegals, all of a sudden, they're all fiscal hawks now. Oh, now all of a sudden these moonbats, they care about balanced budgets and excessive government spending. Oh, suddenly, but it's going to be so expensive. So, according to CBS 60 Minutes, I don't believe them. I think this is a bogus figure, but just humor me. They say it's to deport every 1 million people per year. It's going to cost $88 billion. It's not that high. I'm telling you, this is a bogus number. But just for the sake of argument, they're like, 88 billion for 1 million people. That's a lot of money. Can we afford this? Roll cut 41, Mike.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Yeah, that was a great answer. A, your number is bogus. You're CBS. All you guys do is lie. But here, let me just take it at face value. What price do you put on national security? What's the price tag? We've got Iranian groups now looking to assassinate Trump. You've got MS-13 and gangbangers literally slaughtering Americans. Here in Massachusetts, we've got a real problem now of illegal aliens committing child rape, literally child rape. So listen now to Homan. He's asked, well, what if you start deporting certain families, but they have an anchor baby? Are you going to separate families? You have to keep the parents. Homan says, oh no, it's the other way around. Roll cut 41A, Mike.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
In other words, what he's saying is, you have an anchor baby. That's not going to, we're not taking that as an excuse not to deport you. We're going to deport you. Now, you don't want to be separated. Take your child with you. In other words, we're not playing around. Zero tolerance. Do you agree or disagree? 632 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, let me ask all of you, it's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day. And the reason why I'm doing it now is I suspect that this topic is going to dominate today's show. So I just want to get your take on Pete Hegseth. It was the most surprising of all of Trump's picks. And whether you like the pick or don't like the pick. As you know, Pete Hegseth is a well-known television personality on Fox News. He's a weekend co-host. He's written several best-selling books. His last book, and I think it's maybe the reason why Trump picked him, was about the need to de-wokeify the military. How wokeism is killing the U.S. military. And it was a national bestseller. Pete Hegseth, also, though, 20-year military veteran, served multiple deployments, Guantanamo Bay, Afghanistan, Iraq. He's won the Bronze Star multiple times. So he is a decorated combat veteran, mid-rank level, but that to me is, not the point. The point is he was a warrior. He fought, and he's not part of the politicized leadership of the military. He understands the needs of the military. He understands the rank and file. He served our country honorably. And of course, he's written multiple books. So when it comes to the military, he knows what he's talking about. All of this to ask all of you, and the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's quality roofing, siding, and windows. Do you like the pick of Pete Hegseth as Trump's Secretary of Defense? Do you think it's a good pick or a bad pick? A, yes, good pick. B, no, bad pick. Yes, as all the reasons I listed. No, he has no political experience. and he's never run a major department or organization before. So that is the rap against him, and that's why some people are expressing very serious concern. Great guy. They're saying, look, patriot, loyal to the country, wonderful man, great warrior. But he's the wrong guy for the wrong job. Maybe Secretary of Veterans Affairs. That's what many are saying, but not to run the entire Pentagon. So I'm giving you literally the arguments from both sides. So A, yes, B, no. I want to hear from you, Kuhner Country. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUHN is in national ER. You can also vote via X. And again, last night I was very active on X. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHN is in national ER. Okay. How far should Trump go? Homan says he's willing to go all the way, deport every single illegal alien, period, full stop. Some in Kuhner Country are saying that's inhumane. Yes, deport the criminals, the gangbangers, the drug dealers, those that are sucking on the teat in terms of welfare and taking benefits. But if, for example, like that woman that John talked about yesterday on the show, who is working, has a job, she's making $14 an hour, she wants to be legalized and pay taxes and contribute to American society, that we should not be deporting people like them because, according to John, people like that could become natural Republicans and Trump voters, and that we should find a pathway to amnesty for them. So, Kuhner Country, where do you stand? Do you want every illegal alien deported, or should it stop at those who have jobs, who want to pay taxes, and have not committed any other crime but the crime of breaking into the United States? 617-266-6868. The table is set. Let's unleash the hounds. Angelo in Rockland. You're going to kick us off, Angelo. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Hey, just before we get started here with all this, I just want to say congratulations to MAGA. All the Democrats that came to help, even the unenrolled and the independents, everybody stepped up to make America great again. We're a world light, and that'll shine in a few years, as you know. But getting back to, let's say, Peter, he doesn't just like trains, planes, and automobiles, and he's going to run the department. He does have some foresight of what he's going to do as far as that. As far as the immigration, in my eyes, the people that are working and helping society, let them stay. But don't forget, they were misled by a corrupt administration that wanted their votes, illegal votes, and they got them in here by the millions, and now we're stuck with them. But, he's got to do what he has to do. It's unbelievable that our governor and the other governors are saying how they're going to rebel and stomp their feet and cry. But you know what? They have to look at the law. We're a law-abiding country, and let's get it right. Do the right thing, and all the lawfare and all these people that did lawfare and this, that, and the other thing, they're going to see justice, and it's not going to be lawfare. If you have nothing to worry about, hey, you're fine. But if you use lawfare to go after your political opponent and stuff, you're gonna stand in front of a judge the way you should. And what do you think about this? I can go on all day here, Jeff.
Well, Angelo, look, I guess the question I want to ask is this, because this is what that final caller yesterday was, his argument was, look, I understand we got to secure the border, check. We have to start deporting people, no question. But we should just deport the violent criminals, the gangbangers, the MS-13s, the fentanyl and drug dealers, the human sex traffickers. But the people like this woman that he knows, I suspect it's his girlfriend. He didn't say that, but I just suspect. In other words, she comes from some Latin American country. And he says, no, Jeff, she came in illegally. She admits it. but she's working. She's got a job. She makes, what he told me, $14 an hour. And she wants to stay. If she goes back, life will be horrible for her. It's a dangerous, violent country, and she doesn't want to go back, and her family doesn't want to go back. And he's saying, why not leave her here? Exempt her. People like her. There's millions and millions of them. You know, they're not all gangbangers. They're not all drug dealers. They're not all sex traffickers. They want to work. They want to pay taxes. Take them out from the shadows. And if Trump does that, in other words, do a partial deportation. If he does that, according to John, these people will be loyal to Trump and to the Republicans, and they will become natural Republican voters. I'm just curious. What say you, Angelo?
Well, I'll tell you, I wouldn't do it just to get a Republican vote. I would do it because we are human and we are compassionate people and we help everybody around the world. I would do it in that case. But the people that are just want to keep everybody in here, Jeff, I think it's time that, you know, maybe they go to the registrating where we vote. And if they want these people, they sign a paper saying we want them here. We'll pay a little more taxes out of our own wallets. And then we'll see how they really feel. And then that's where the light will really shine. I mean, pay and help them if you want in that regard, but why does it got to come out of all of our... If they're illegal and they want to be on the dole, those people should pay for them to stay. Shouldn't be our burden. As far as the people that are working and they're hardworking people, then they're paying their part to our society, and that's fine. Then let them stay. Here's a for instance. My buddy, I retired a couple of years ago. I got a part-time job now just to keep busy because I was going crazy. But anyway, a friend of mine that I'm working with now, his wife is from Brazil. She is so thrilled that Trump won because she's saying she lived what was going on. They canceled accent figures of speech and this and that. She says the people don't know. She pays $2,000 every other year for her green card to be here. She's into it for $12,000 now. They have a baby. She's dual citizenship, but she's trying so hard to become an American citizen. And these people are coming in and just reaping all the benefits, but she's working night and day on top of this, Jeff. So
bingo. Well, Angelo, you know, I think you nailed it. You really put your finger on it. And that was the argument I made to John. I only had about a minute left to respond to him. But I said, illegal is illegal is illegal. And a squatter is a squatter is a squatter. What that Brazilian woman is a legal immigrant, and she's got to pay for her green card. She's got to pay for her lawyer. She's done everything the right way. Why should people like her be punished? 648 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, how far should Trump and Tom Homan go when they implement their deportations, their mass deportations? Many, like me, are saying, all the way, baby. You came in illegally, you're going to go out, back to your country of origin. The way you came in is the way you're going to go out. However, many Republicans and many within Kuhner country are saying it's wrong. It's inhumane. It's not compassionate. We had a phone call on that score yesterday, saying those illegals that did come in under Biden, according to John, one of the callers, they were invited in by Biden. They came in illegally. If they're working and they want to stay and be legal, we should legalize them so they can work, pay taxes, and contribute as long as they've not committed any other crimes. Do you agree with John, or do you agree with the Kuhner man? 617-266-6868. Larry in Leominster. Thanks for holding, Larry, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Larry, how are you?
Yes, sir. Oh, I'm fabulous, other than it's kind of chilly out here in Leominster. Before I get into what we're talking about, do you remember, you and I are about 6 months apart in age. Do you remember a movie that came out in 1985 starring Richard Pryor and John Candy called Brewster's Millions?
I'm aware of it. I never saw it, Larry.
Okay, so the surmise was he had a long-lost uncle. He's going to leave him money but there was a challenge. He could take a $1 million payout and walk away scot-free, or if he accepted the challenge, if he could spend $30 million in 30 days, and at the end of it have nothing to show for it, no assets, no nothing, he'd get $300 million. Now, he succeeded, but I had to laugh. Kamala Harris just spent $1 billion in 76 days, and she's got nothing to show for it.
Well, she's got a $20 million debt, Larry. She spent $1 billion, and now they're $20 million in the hole, Larry.
That's not a flex, Jeff.
Larry, what do you think? Where do you stand on this deportation issue?
Vaya con Dios.
Basically, send them all back, right, Larry?
Yeah, okay, so let's go with John. And I think I agree with what you're saying. This could be someone he's romantically involved with, but let's set that aside. And let's set aside his argument that, she doesn't do anything wrong other than breaking the law by coming across the border illegally. Set all that aside. Every illegal alien that's in this country currently is robbing the voice and vote of an American. Remember when Trump, in his first term, tried to get the U.S. Census to ask the question, are you here legally? Are you a legal U.S. citizen? The Democrats fought tooth and nail to prevent it, and it wasn't asked. Why was that?
Well, because of representation in Congress, correct, Larry?
Exactly. I think Ohio lost a seat, and a couple others that would vote for us, like he's saying that these illegals would, lost seats. And people who either California should have lost 3 or 4 seats. I think they only lost 1, right? So for all those illegal aliens that are just so law-abiding, minding their own business, are being counted against Americans in the census in order to steal votes. There's no other argument.
That's a great point. Larry, that's an outstanding point. And Larry, look, this is what I find, and I'd like to get your take on this. This is what I find incredible. We're still 2.5 months away, 2.5 months before Trump is officially inaugurated. And, day one begins where they start with their mass deportations. We haven't even deported one illegal yet. Not one MS-13 murderer, not one gangbanger, not one drug dealer, not one child rapist, not one. And already people are getting weak at the knees? Well, look, don't touch those illegals who, if they haven't committed a violent crime, they can stay. Well, if they work and have a job, they can stay. Already they're trying to make all kinds of exemptions and exceptions. I'm like, we haven't even started deporting people yet. And people are already getting soft in the knees. How about we start deporting millions and millions and millions of them? And then if you want to start talking exceptions, we can talk. But look, my position is clear. A squatter is a squatter is a squatter. And you came into this country illegally. You're going to have to leave this country. You have a job. Good for you. You can then apply when you come back to your home country. You can apply to come in legally. Because there are millions of people who are living in very dangerous countries, very violent countries, who want to come to America. They're willing to work for $14-15 an hour, I guarantee you, and they're waiting in line. They're in their home country waiting in line. So we're going to reward people who break our laws and violate our sovereignty. And just because suddenly they're here, it's like, well, I broke into your house and I'm here, so you might as well accept me. No. There's the door, or there's the window. That's how you broke in. That's how you get out. Hasta la vista. Final word to you, Larry.
Yes, exactly. You're right. So I love what Trump is doing brilliantly. All those little video excerpts of him saying exactly what he's going to do. And then a lot of these appointments. The mainstream media and the Democrats are so befuddled by this barrage, they don't know what to talk about first. They're on the ropes, plus all the infighting. But no, he also declared war. And I don't mean like Reagan's war on drugs. I mean war on the cartels. How about instead of all them coming here, we assist them in straightening out their country so they have a place to live that's not so dangerous?
Oh, I love that.
Would be cheaper.
Oh, so you're completely right. Look, Larry, if we broke the back of the drug cartels, Mexico, Central Latin America would look very different. And I'm not talking about, Iraq, Afghanistan, send in a whole army, conquer and try to occupy and nation build. Nothing like that. Just exactly what you're talking about. Declare these drug cartels what they are, which is terrorists, and then send in special forces with the Mexican government working together, and we dismantle and destroy every single one of them. We hunt them down and we kill them. And we seize all of their assets, all of their money. And as Trump said, we're going to put a fund together to give to every single American who has lost a family member or child to an illegal immigrant. Money doesn't bring your child back. I get it. But at least you get some kind of compensation, something to help you try to rebuild your shattered life. But dismantle and destroy, literally wipe out all of these drug cartels. Believe me, El Salvador will be a hell of a lot better. Mexico will be a hell of a lot better. Most countries in Latin America will be a hell of a lot better. So when we send them all back, they'll have a much better country to go back to. Larry, do you think Trump has the stomach to declare war on the Mexican drug cartels and to send in special forces and to wipe them out?
Sir, he does. Homan does. Whether the rhinos in Congress do is another story. But you said he was going to the White House today. He's stopping off at Capitol Hill first. And I think he's going to have a come-to-Jesus meeting with these rhinos.
I hope so. I hope so. I really hope so. Larry, as always, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. And by the way, you know who also I think supports Trump in this war on the drug cartels? Pete Hegseth. The Secretary of Defense, if he's confirmed, and I think he will be confirmed. And I think Mike Waltz, Congressman Mike Waltz, is National Security Advisor, who he's named. Another one, all in. So he's put together a team. We're talking border hawks, immigration hawks, drug cartel hawks that are deadly serious about stopping this invasion and destroying the cartels and their power once and for all. Sandy in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Sandy, and welcome.
Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure,
First
Sandy.
of all, I would like to comment on Pete Hegseth. I'm sure that there are people who have not been chosen who are very unhappy about that. But, oh well, that's life. I believe very strongly in the choices which President Trump is making. Hurrah for him. Hurrah for Tom Homan. And to address the illegals who are working here, as you have said, a squatter is a squatter. A couple of examples I'll give you. Down in a local Dunkin' Donuts is a lady who works. She has become a naturalized citizen, raising her family here. Around the corner from me, there is a variety store owned by a gentleman from India who is a citizen. His help, all are from India. They are all citizens or on the pathway. Why does not John's person that he knows chosen this routing? They can all do it. We go back to the point. They are all felons who broke into this country.
Sandy, that's my argument. Really well said, Sandy. That's been my position from the beginning, years ago. And thank you for that. Look, just stand back objectively, okay? I understand the argument that and by the way, the media is making this argument. As I said, the Wall Street Journal editorial page, they made that whole argument, whole editorial on this. Well, okay, there's consensus to secure the border, they said. And there is consensus to go after the gangbangers and the drug dealers and the rapists and the violent felons. They go, no question. But they go, once you start going after families, once you start going after, say, people who've come into this country and had anchor babies, you start breaking up families. The American people are not going to support that. Once you start, this is the Wall Street Journal. That's what they're saying. If you start going after people who are holding down jobs or whatever, collecting some welfare, but also getting a job, well, no, the American people are going to say they should stay and they're contributing members of society. And that's when this consensus is going to unravel and the blowback is going to start happening against Trump. And I read this and I'm like, I just shake my head in utter amazement. So let me get this straight. I want you to understand what they're wanting us to accept. Let's just take John's lady friend. You come from a foreign country. You break into our country illegally in the dead of night. You know you're coming in illegally. You make your way all the way up to New Hampshire. You find a job illegally. You have a false document. You commit identity theft. You claim a social security number or tax ID number or whatever that you don't have or you bought at a 7-Eleven. And okay, fine, you have a job. Okay, good for you. But you're stealing a job from an American or a legal citizen, a legal resident. So you're committing crime after crime after crime after crime. Really what you've done is you're breaking and entering. Except you're not breaking and entering into a home, you're breaking and entering into our homeland. And I'm supposed to reward you because you have a job? I'm supposed to overlook everything else because you have a job? Now, never mind the fact that you're stealing jobs from Americans and driving down wages because they're working, for as low as they can possibly work. That's why they're getting hired. Okay, leave all that aside. And that you've broken our laws, violated our sovereignty. You're really spitting in our face. What about all the millions and millions and millions? And Sandy points them out. Some do come and make it. Others are waiting. So by respecting our laws, our sovereignty, our way of life, they get the shaft? In other words, they don't break and enter. They knock at the door and politely wait to see if you're going to open and let them in. So those that abide by our laws and respect us, they get the shaft? They have to stay in line? What, you don't think they're sitting in El Salvador? You don't think they're sitting in Venezuela or Colombia? Or I'm just picking these countries because it seemed like she came from one of these sort of Latin American countries. So why should they get the shaft? This is so unfair on so many levels. Now, I'm sorry, but illegal is illegal is illegal. It's not because I don't have a heart. It's not because I'm not compassionate. It's not because I see a woman working and I don't feel, of course I want her to succeed and do well in life. I don't want her to go back to Colombia. I'm not like, I gotta go back to Colombia and starve. But I'm sorry, billions of people want to come into the United States. You think she's the only one? So what you're really saying is might makes right. If I can force my way in and, and impose myself, then I should be allowed to stay. Because why? Well, I have a job. Well, big deal. I mean, you should have a job. I mean, in other words, be grateful. It's just not all on welfare. Oh, well, thank you. Oh, thanks. So, no, I'm sorry. Look, you go back and you say, I want to apply and come in legally. Otherwise, I'm not interested in that kind of an immigrant. I came to this country. I did it the right way. Grace came to this country. She did it the right way. By the way, just so that you know, I want to be brutally honest with you. Do you know how badly we wanted children? Grace and I cannot have kids. As you know, that's why we adopted. Do you know how many opportunities we had to break the law? If you're willing to pay under the table, cut the line, go to some third world country, you can snatch a kid. Nobody will know. They can forge the paperwork. I didn't do that. I'm just telling you, we did it. It took us many years. And by the grace of God, we were blessed with two, not one, but two beautiful children. But what I'm saying is, everybody has an excuse or a reason to break the law. Everybody's got a sob story. It doesn't justify breaking the law. Am I wrong? Mike in Cotawit. Thanks for holding, Mike, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Mike.
I sent you an email to your Gmail account, and basically, I'll just let me read it because I get really emotional about things. I rarely talk to talk show hosts, so I'll read it to you. Jeff, I listen to your morning show during the week and rarely call talk shows. I just sent a message to Donald Trump for a suggestion to address criminal illegal immigrants. I'm not sure if you'll get my message, but I do believe that you can at least bring the suggestion to the forefront in addressing the suggestion on your radio talk show. I'm a retired veteran, father and grandfather, who's concerned with illegal immigrants who break our laws and commit criminal activity affecting our U.S. citizens. Since our governor in Massachusetts has decided not to allow the Massachusetts State Police to work with ICE, I have suggested to President-elect Donald Trump to create an 800 telephone number for U.S. citizens to report any illegal immigrant that is involved with criminal activity to ICE. I do know that there may be difficulty in following up on these calls to determine the legitimacy of the caller. However, ICE could work with FBI officials to follow up with the caller who could remain anonymous. I do believe that even the suggestion of an 800 number for U.S. citizens to report illegal immigrants would deter criminal activity by illegal immigrants. The 800 number could be 800 illegal or 800-455-3425.
Well, Mike, look, I like your idea of being vigilant. I love that idea. And I love the idea of us Americans, citizens, legal residents, banding together and standing in unity with Trump as we start executing these mass deportations. I'm uncomfortable with the snitch line. I'll be honest with you, Mike. I don't like a snitch line. What I like is, look, you see someone committing a crime, you report it. And Homan has said, and I agree with him, that if Maura Healey, I'm just using her because Newsom, Pritzker, and Hochul are going to do the same. So this is a nationwide problem. If they defy federal immigration law and tell state police do not cooperate, they're going to lose all their federal funding. They're going to go to court. They're going to be sued. And I'm telling you, if they continue, they're going to get arrested. Maura Healey's playing with fire. Homan is not messing around. They will eventually, they're going to slap the handcuffs on her. Because a criminal, I said a squatter is a squatter is a squatter. A criminal is a criminal is a criminal. And if you're going to start instructing state police not to arrest someone who's committing a crime because they happen to be an illegal, then that's aiding and abetting criminal behavior. And they're engaged in obstruction of justice. That's why Homan is saying, don't do it. Don't do it. And we're going to bring in even more bodies, more police, more ICE agents, the military if we need be, to go after all of these criminal illegals. So, look, what's already happening, Mike, it's a great theoretical discussion that we're having. I love it. In reality, this is what's already happening. A big story up in New York. The fact that Trump was simply elected and appointed Homan as border czar, Canada now is full of stories. They're jumping on buses in New York and taking them into Canada. So illegals are fleeing New York, going on buses, and then going into Canada, and they want to stay in Canada. They're leaving by themselves. They're self-deporting. So either they're going to Canada or they're going back to Mexico, and from Mexico back to their homeland. Now, the big thing is that Homan says you're going to have work raids, illegal immigration raids in the workforce. And they're going to go company after company, corporation after corporation. Everybody knows who they are. And if they catch you, you're getting deported. And the company's going to face a massive fine. Millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. In other words, it's not worth hiring these illegals because you're going to lose your shirt. They're going to bankrupt you. So already now, companies are announcing mass layoffs of all of these illegal alien employees. Well, now they don't have a job. You cut off the welfare, and Trump says he's cutting off the welfare. Well, you got no job, you got no money, you got no welfare. There's only one place for you to go, back home. So a lot of this is going to be self-deportation. That's why Trump deliberately put Kristi Noem, Homeland Security, Homan, Border Czar, Stephen Miller, Deputy Chief of Staff, and Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. The military, Homeland Security, the White House, ICE, Border Patrol, everybody now is going to be working together to put maximum political, economic, social, government pressure to drive all of these illegals back out. Biden brought them in. Trump is taking out the trash. And he's not just going to take out Biden and Harris. All of these criminal, illegal alien gangbangers are going out as well. 720 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, how far do you want these deportations to go? Already, the media is saying it should stop with violent illegal alien criminals. Stop there. That's it. No further than that. In fact, the Healy, Newsom, Pritzker, and Hochul don't even want the violent criminal illegals to be deported. But the media is saying, well, okay, if you have to get rid of MS-13, if you must. But anything beyond that, they say, would be cruel, heartless, not compassionate, and many Republicans agree, and even some in Kuhner country are saying, Jeff, let's have a heart. Let's think about those that have a job, that are already here, that have anchor babies, that they came here illegally, but their children were born here. And so we can't break up families by deporting them, or deporting the parents, but leaving the kids behind. To which Homan has said, I won't break up any families. The anchor babies can go with the parents. The whole family will get deported. Well, that's not fair. Well, you should have thought of that before you broke our laws and came in illegally. So how far are you willing to go? You know how far I am. I think every single illegal must go, period, full stop. But that's me. Michelle in Boston. Thanks for holding, Michelle, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. I am a huge fan and first-time caller.
Welcome, Michelle.
Thank you. So pardon me if I'm a little nervous. I definitely have a comment of your topic today, but I had another reason to call. But my comment as far as the illegal immigration, the media has absolutely no credibility. Let's be honest. Like, whatever they say, we really shouldn't even bother listening to them anymore. My point about the immigration is, does the IRS turn the other way if you make an honest mistake and don't declare like a gift? No, they don't. They actually audit you where you have to pay a lot of money to get a tax attorney. They'll put you in jail so fast your head will spin if you don't declare a certain amount of money. don't give me that. They follow the letter of the law when they want to. So, and this is with American citizens who actually pay, money. So the IRS doesn't look the other way when it comes to breaking the law, because if you don't, pay your taxes, you're breaking the law. So I'm sorry, you can't be selective in how you follow the rule of law. If you're an illegal immigrant and you do not, go the proper means. My father was an immigrant. He went through the proper means. And, that's what I have to say about that. Don't be selective in following the letter of the law. We are a nation of laws. And, as for Maura Healey and Pritzker, the last time I checked, Maura Healey did not invite an illegal family into her beautiful Arlington house, because that's where she lives. Not, she doesn't, live in probably, a one-bedroom condo, I'm sure. And Pritzker, he's a billionaire. He owns not the Holiday Inn hotel chain. The last time I checked, he didn't set aside, multiple hotels that he owns just for illegal aliens and cover them, as far as I know. So they really have to just stop talking out of their, behind. So that's my comment about that. The reason why I am actually calling, and maybe you can take another time to discuss this, is I woke up to see that Trump is having Betsy DeVos again as the, Secretary of Education. And I'm extremely disappointed. I'm beyond disappointed. First of all, she did absolutely nothing in his first term. Nothing. And not only that, she was a turncoat, and she distanced herself right away after January 6th. So why he's choosing her again is beyond me. I had so much hope that we would have school choice, on a national level. Like, my sister lives in Florida. Her 4 children have school choice. They get a certain amount of money every year to go to Catholic school. I was praying, because I have 4 children. They're in Catholic school. I was praying that something would be done as far as school choice. With this woman, who, again, I don't know why doesn't he just invite the woman on The View that used to work for him, Tara, whatever her name is. I am so disappointed. Nothing will be done. And that is the worst choice.
Michelle, if you don't mind me asking, and by the way, you're making outstanding points. Please don't be a stranger. You really need to call again, Michelle. Really, really strong call. On Betsy DeVos, I have not heard of that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I can tell you almost every other pick. I did not hear anything for Education Secretary. And where did you hear that he's thinking of Betsy DeVos again?
I read it on my Fox News app, and I just almost started crying.
Okay, sorry, but what is the Fox News app? Sorry, what is that?
The Fox News app.
Oh, Fox News. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is it a rumor? Hold on, Michelle. Is it a rumor? Is it like she's on a short list? Or is it like he's picked her?
That was the headline. That was the headline.
He picked her?
You know what? That's what it said. It says she will be coming in. Now, unless Fox News is incorrect, I hope I'm incorrect. More than anything, I hope that is wrong. I hope it's just rumor. But she was so incompetent.
That's going to be his worst pick. If that's true. I mean, let's just assume it's true for a second. That's going to be his worst pick. Oh, man. Why? She was a disaster the first time. Oh, son of a bee. Michelle, thank you for that. And I agree with every point that you made. Absolutely every point. Okay, hold on. Michelle, that could be fake news. We'll discuss it next. 7:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Michelle, great call. No, Michelle, here's what the Fox News story says. I think the headline was slightly misleading. It appears that Betsy DeVos will not be joining the Trump administration as the education secretary. Now, he's made no decision yet, so he may. I'm not saying I have special knowledge. But what the Fox News story said is just that Betsy DeVos is joining Trump, and then that's when the headline cuts off. And what she did, she's just joining Trump in calling for the Department of Education to be abolished. Trump has said ideally he'd like to just abolish the entire Department of Education, which, by the way, I agree with him on. I think it was created under Jimmy Carter. We've had it now for over, 40 years? I think it's been a disaster. I think education has gotten worse. We traditionally was left to the states completely, and our education system was infinitely better. Infinitely better. I think the Department of Education has been an unmitigated disaster. But let that go. So Betsy DeVos, they're just talking about a story where she's joining Trump in calling for the Department of Education to be utterly, uprooted and abolished, eliminated. But it's not that she's joining his administration. Honestly, I would be shocked because she really was not a very effective education secretary, and she was quite unpopular, especially with conservatives. So, so Michelle, otherwise great call, but you don't need to worry. I don't think she's coming back. 617-266-6868 is the number. And people ask me, what departments should we get rid of? Because now they have this, new government efficiency department that they set up, DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy running it. Get rid of the Department of Education completely. Get rid of the Department of Energy completely. Get rid of Homeland Security completely. Completely. Like those three departments gone. Just gone. And you're missing nothing. In fact, it's, as they say, addition by subtraction. You're going to get more energy, better education, and better Homeland Security just by getting rid of those three departments. So that's already a start. But anyway, whether they will, whether they won't, we shall see. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Mike, who do you want me to go to next? Mel in Saratoga, upstate New York. Thanks for holding, Mel, and welcome.
Oh, yes. Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Mel.
Good morning. Excuse the roosters in the background, but it's morning in America again. I'm all for this total deportation. You look at these illegal aliens that have entered our country. If you look at it in this regard, they're getting their 40 acres and a mule. They're getting, they don't simulate. That was supposed to be a little bit of a punch, but they've not done. You look at the black population in this country. I'm not for reparations. The reparations they're getting already. Look at what they've been gotten. $15,000 gift cards or credit cards. They've gotten free meals. They've gotten free this, that, and the other. They're working under the table, collecting a check, collecting a government check. They ride around in brand new cars. We Americans who have to get up and work for a living and have to struggle with an old beat up jalopy to get back and forth to work. These people have gotten everything handed to them. Now, if you look at what they owe, what they've gotten, are they going to pay all that back in order to be able to stay here in this country? I doubt it. Seriously doubt that. It's just the fact that, we're getting kicked in the pants at every turn with this, illegal, migration.
Oh, you're dead on. Mel, you're dead on. Look, all of the freebies that they've gotten, and we're talking, this is like worth $60, $70, $80,000 per person a year. I mean, this is obscene. You're right. The catered meals, the prepaid debit cards, the EBT, the hotels. I mean, you know what it is to stay at a 4 or 5-star hotel every single day? To have room service, have somebody, do your laundry for you, paid Uber, paid taxis. I mean, I could go on and on and on. There's no way they're going to pay any of that back. I couldn't pay that back. So that's number one. Number two, Mel, to me, and I want to ask you this in all seriousness, okay? To me, let's just get to the philosophical principle of the matter. Because the argument that John made, again, the caller yesterday, and the media is making it, and many Republicans, establishment rhino Republicans, are making the same argument. Well, Mel, they're here. Okay, that's their argument. They're here. Yes, they broke the law. Yes, they came in illegally, but they're here. And many of them are working. And they're, doing, 14, 15, 16, 18, $20 an hour job. And, they want to be contributing members of society. So why don't we just legalize them? They'll start paying taxes. They'll start really contributing. And if we do that gesture, Mel, many will say, look what a kind-hearted man Donald Trump and the Republicans are. And these are natural Republicans that we can eventually bring into the Republican tent. So that's the argument. Now, I want to ask you this. Mel, if someone breaks into your home, they break into your home. Now, I know you're saying, I would never let them, I have a gun, but just indulge me. Someone breaks into your home, Mel, and they now squat in your basement, and they're using your bathroom, and they're eating out of your fridge, and they're sleeping in one of your beds, but they go work every day. They go and they work, and they have a job, and then they come back home, and they continue to squat in your home. Because they're willing to hold down a job and put some money in their pocket, does that entitle them to stay and live in your home after they've broken in and entered? Because you look at them and you say, well, the guy wants to have a job. He's trying to make something of himself. Okay, you can stay. I mean, Mel, would that allow somebody to stay and squat in your home if they still wanted to go and have a job? Would you allow that person to stay?
No, Jeff. It's still an unconstitutional benefit that they're accumulating on top of all of what I'm going to say it, that they've stolen. I mean, if you walked across the border, you came into my home, which is my country, and you expect me to keep paying my taxes to go to you, and I'm living hand to mouth. No, I don't care if you got a job or not. Go back to your own country and create those jobs. You go back to your own country and fight for your rights. We did it here in 1776. You know what I mean? Go back to your own country, stand up like a man, stand up like a woman, and face your oppressors, and get the job done. Or otherwise, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah, or come here legally, right? Or do what other people have done and say, I want to come and be an American. And you come in and you respect our laws and you respect our rules and you respect our sovereignty and you come in like a legal immigrant, correct?
They're not assimilating, Jeff. Yes, come here the proper way. Come here the legal ways. You go through the process. Be vetted. Come here and just show that you got a sponsor who's going to sponsor you, and that you're not going to take an American job. You're going to create something on your own, or work for somebody that's your sponsor. You don't come here and just you start stealing jobs. Yeah, I'm down in New Jersey. I'm coming through New Jersey after leaving Long Island I had dropped a couple of horses off down there at Belmont. And I go into McDonald's. Everybody in there is, illegal. I mean, Ray Charles, they're not American. They didn't come here through the proper process, but they've all got American jobs that an American should have, or we should want to have. But then again, you go back to that COVID routine, that COVID farce, that scam. I guess there's still COVID checks going out to Americans to make them lazy and make them not want to go to work, make them so far out of shape that they couldn't go to work unless till lunchtime. So I mean, there's another aspect to what our government has.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. No, you're right, Mel. Look, COVID really did us in. I mean, they really broke our back. Mel, as always, thank you so much for that call. Really good call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Now, apparently, you need to hear this. Biden is meeting Trump today. The White House is already saying they're going to discuss two things. Peaceful transition of power. Okay, I get that. But Biden is going to be pitching Trump on continuing billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine. He's going to continue to pitch Trump on all that money continuing to Ukraine. Now, notice, When Tom Homan did that interview on 60 Minutes and said, no, we're going to do mass deportations, it's going to be millions and millions, what did the media say? But it's going to cost $1 billion. It's going to cost 88, my bad. It's going to cost $88 billion for 1 million illegals. Oh, so when it's time to deport illegals, then money's an issue. But when it comes to glory to Ukraine, 200 billion, 300 billion, the sky's the limit. 750 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Or I guess 3 horsemen and 1 horsewoman. Donald Trump, Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, and of course, Kristi Noem now heading the Department of Homeland Security. They're deadly serious now about implementing massive deportations of illegals, millions and millions and millions. Listen now to Tom Homan. This is again his interview on 60 Minutes. So they're going on about, it's going to be $88 billion to deport every 1 million illegals. And Homan rightly says that's not an accurate figure. It's going to be much lower than that. You're exaggerating. But even if it's true, what's the price that you put on national security? Because when it comes to glory to Ukraine, when it comes to Slava Ukraina, glory to Ukraine, Biden now is going to lobby Trump apparently today for another $250-300 billion. So notice the media never asks how much is too much for Ukraine. 300 billion, 400 billion, 500 billion. It doesn't matter. But when it comes to actually stopping and reversing this invasion and putting America and Americans first, suddenly we don't have the money. Hey, you phony, you fraud, you. Listen now to Homan saying there's going to be no grace period. Convicted criminals, felons, rapists, gangbangers, MS-13, we're coming for you. Get ready. Roll cut 42, Mike.
Criminals and gang members get no grace period. But while we're out prioritizing the public safety threats and national security threats, if you want to self-deport, you should self-deport. Because, again, we know who you are, and we're going to come and find you. So if you want to self-deport, that's fine. But criminals and gang members, they get no favors from this administration. You came to this country illegally, which is a crime. You committed crimes against the United States citizens, some heinous crimes. You get no grace period, so we're coming for you. But for those others, the non-criminals, you want to self-deport, I'm all for it. Because when they self-report, they can put their orders, put everything in order, their family business, if they got homes or whatever, they can put all that in order and leave with their family altogether. It makes perfect sense.
So that's the Trump plan. They want to go phase 1, go after, it makes sense, right? You can't be everywhere at once. So they're going to go very heavy, focus on the gangbangers, the drug dealers, the human traffickers, the convicted violent criminals. And by the way, I have to say this. You've got to see Bill Malugin's post on X. Bill Malugin is the Fox News reporter. He does the border. That's his expertise. He says there's something in Massachusetts regarding child rapists. He says, I don't understand. He said it's the most disturbing stories he's ever done is when he does stories here in Mass. And we have a child rapist problem. And it comes straight from the governor's office, Maura Healey. And as Bill Malugin said, on one raid that he went on with ICE, in a single morning, they arrested not 1, not 2, not 3, 4 child rapist illegal aliens. These were illegals brought in by Healey into Massachusetts who committed child rape. Apparently Nantucket, he said they went on another mission in Nantucket with ICE. And it was child rapist after child rapist after child rapist. He cannot believe how many pedophiles, illegal alien pedophiles, child molesters and rapists Healy and the Democrats have allowed into our state. I mean, it's beyond disgusting and obscene. And what Homan is saying is we're going to go after these people first. And by the way, that's who Healy is defending. I want to stress this. When she says we're not cooperating, it's not, they have a job and they don't hurt anybody and they're just working at the local 7-Eleven or whatever, at their local Wendy's and making $15 an hour. No. When she says we're not going to cooperate, we're going to block, we're going to resist, we're going to fight you tooth and nail, she's talking about the child rapists on Nantucket. In other words, if you're a violent criminal, they're going to defend you here in Massachusetts, shield and protect you from being deported. And she's willing to risk all that federal funding to defend that scum? That's how insane she is, and that's how insane the left has become. So that's why I'm telling Trump and Homan, come on down, baby. Come on down. So Homan is saying we're going to do the criminals and the gangbangers and the drug dealers first. There's going to be no grace period. We're going to hammer them and hammer them hard. But we are willing to give the others not a stay. You get a couple months, get your affairs in order, say bye to your family, whatever you got to do, and then you better self-deport. And if you don't self-deport, after about 3 to 6 months, when we're done with phase 1, we're going to phase 2. And phase 2 is you. All of you illegals, every single one of you. And we're going to go state by state, community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood. You came in illegally, we're going to deport every single one of you. So my question to you, do you agree with Homan? Do you agree with Trump? They are calling for a zero tolerance mass deportation of every single illegal alien. I support them all the way, but that's me. I want to hear from you. Julie in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Julie, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you so much for taking my call.
My pleasure, Julie.
So, just a few things. I haven't talked to you since Trump won, so yay.
Congratulations, Julie. We did it.
Thanks for everything. And I wanted to tell you this. I put it on X, but so we went to go vote. I was with my mother-in-law, and they had my address wrong. They couldn't find me in their system. I had lived with my mother in 20 years, but that's where they had me at. And the ballot thing broke while we were there, shockingly. But anyway, he got in, so that's great. Just kind of wanted to let you know that. But this is my point here. So I'm sure you're aware of this, but all men aged 18 to 25 years old and live in the United States must register for selective service. Immigrants, legal residents, and undocumented immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers. So are all of these illegals going to register for selective service, I wonder? Because if not, it's a $250,000 fine.
They're not registering, Julie. I can tell you this right now. That's another exemption they get.
Especially with all this talk about World War III, this and that, I'm telling you, every single one of them better be registered for the draft.
Well, Julie, look, this is what is really, honestly, truly disgusting about everything that's occurred under the Biden-Harris regime. Okay, if we're going to be truly honest with each other. These illegals that have come in, and let's just take the men that you're talking about, at 18, I know you're saying 25, but really 18 to 35. Okay, those are the men that they've predominantly brought in. Single men, military-age men, dangerous men, many of them very violent men. Now, what they're coming in, this is what they do. It's on a vacation for life. That's really why they've come. That's why they're here. They don't have to work. They don't. The government, you, me, the taxpayer, We give them $2,000 a month cash or a debit card. They also get EBT cards. They get catered meals. Catered. $64 a day per illegal. Per illegal. $64 a day. They're put up in 4 or 5-star hotels. They get room, I'm not kidding, they get room service. Their laundry is done for them once a week or twice a week, I believe. Uber rides, free. If they want to go to school, most of them don't, but if they want to go to school, education, free. Healthcare, free. Hospital care, emergency care, free. Everything is free. Plus, free computers, free iPads, they get a free iPhone, free sneakers, free jeans, free clothes. I'm not kidding. They do nothing all day. And I am convinced, and you may disagree with me, Julie, I am convinced one of the reasons, not the only one, but one of the reasons that Maura Healey is so dead set against having a single illegal deported is because she doesn't want people to know what's happening at the Healey hotels. Because that's where all these men stay. Because I know, because the police, I got great sources in the police department, and they're saying, Jeff, it's the freaking Wild West. It's the Wild West in there. They're dealing drugs. They're partying till 3 a.m, alcohol, weed. They go, you got to see the food. It's a buffet in there. Women, prostitutes, sex trafficking. They're snorting cocaine, fights. I mean, they're trashing the place. So they don't want any of this to come out. This is how they're living. They party at night and they sleep during the day. And we give them absolutely everything. The only thing we don't give them is a car, but they don't need a car because I'm telling you, you can look it up. Free Uber rides, free taxi rides. So they just call, the car comes in, comes up to the parking lot or whatever. They go in and takes them wherever they want to go. Many places, like the one in Taunton, that hotel full of migrants, right across the street. Don't take my word for it. Liquor store. They just keep going in and out. We're paying. The whiskey, the vodka, the wine, the beer, nothing but the best for our illegals. Then there's a grocery store right beside it and a 7-Eleven. They're buying lottery tickets. You got to see, they come out carts full of food. I mean, how do you eat that much? And they're getting 3 catered meals a day. So what I'm telling you is, when I say a lifetime vacation, I'm not kidding. It's better than communism. Under communism, they promised to take care of you cradle to grave, but you still technically had to work. Nobody really worked. I mean, they showed up at the factory, but there's no incentive to work. But my point is, you still have to go to work. This is better than communism. I swear to you, they don't even have to go to work. And it's all free with $2,000 a month pocket money. Now, I'm telling you, Julie, if I'm them, I don't want to go. Who the hell wants to go? They go, oh, life is worse in their home country. Well, tell me where life is not worse. You could send them to France. Send them to Italy, and it's worse. I mean, anywhere. Switzerland, it's worse. Nobody treats these illegals the way we do. So, look, I'm not kidding. I'm in negotiations with my family now about taking a week off during Christmas. I'm exhausted. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm tired. It's been a long, hard year. I'm drained. And I'm like, well, I don't want to lose the ratings, and I know people want to listen, and it's the Trump transition. And so for me to take 1 or 2 weeks off a year, it's like it's World War III, because I don't want to lose the ratings. I don't want to disappoint you, the great audience. I don't know if I can take the time off. We don't have personnel like we did before to fill in. And I don't want to give you the story of my life. My point is, for the Kuhner man to get 1 or 2 weeks off for the whole year, and I work like a dog. I mean, I'm like, wow, thank you, Jesus. This is 365 days a year. This is a permanent vacation. And this woman stands there with a straight face and says that she's going to risk cutting off all federal funding for all our roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, police, firefighters, first responders, to keep these welfare deadbeats living high on the hog? Julie, it is beyond disgusting. It's revolting. That's why I want ICE coming in. And I want cameras to go with ICE. And I want them to go into every Healy hotel and let the residents of the taxpayers of Massachusetts say, look at this room. Look at this room. Look at that pile of cocaine. Look at this. Look at the child pornography in this one. Look how they trashed the place. Look at all the freaking food. Just look at it. That's what we've all been paying for. I'm telling you, Julie, politically, she's finished. One camera on one of these raids, and it's all over. Normally, I say good night, Irene. In this case, good night, Maura. Final word to you, Julie.
Totally, 1,000%, not 100%, 1,000,000% agree with you, Jeff. And like I said, maybe offer, ask these guys, all right, you want to stay? Are you willing to sign up for the draft? Because I told you this, I don't know if you remember, but I have a son that just turned 18, and I am so afraid of World War III and my son, because, half the military's gone. My son would have to be drafted, and over my dead body is my son going to be drafted, and all these illegal immigrants not.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Julie. Send them to Ukraine. I'm not kidding. They all love Ukraine so much, no problem. All these illegals, especially the men, no problem. We'll send it to Ukraine. Believe me. And I would send every illegal. This is the choice I would give them. I swear to you. If I could have Tom Homan's ear, I'd say, Tom, I know you said it sound crazy. No, you say I'm giving you a choice. You see how great America is? We give you, even the illegals that we're deporting, we give you a choice. That's how great we are. You can go back to your country of origin, or you can go to Ukraine. Take your pick. Hey, 20 million. And according to the media, these are the dreamers. I'm just saying, Julie, according to the media, they work harder than us. They're smarter than us. They're better people than us. So that's 20 million consumers, workers, fighters, however Zelensky wants to use them. So you want 20 million to fight Mother Russia to the death? We're going to give you 20 million. That's it. No more money, but we'll give you the illegals. You want or no want? Take your pick. So that's the option I would offer all these illegals. You want to go? We're deporting you, but I'll give you a pick. Take your pick. Colombia or Ukraine? What do you want? Door A or door B? And something tells me, Julie, they'll be very happy to go to Colombia. Suddenly going to Colombia is not, no, I'm going to die. No, don't send me back. Send them to an actual war zone? No, we take Colombia. Colombia is good. No, we like Colombia. Good Colombia. So, Julie, I would offer them a choice. Ukraine, glory to Ukraine, or their home country. Julie, what say you?
I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Is it Holmgren?
Homan, Homan. Homan.
Homan said, all these liberal governors are in, the media are in an uproar about, you're going to separate families and this and that. These parents had no problem handing their kids over to the cartel.
That's a great point. That is a great point. That's a brilliant point. So, you know what? Don't save me your crocodile tears. They handed their children over to the cartels. That's how much you love them. But we're compassionate people. We're going to deport the whole family. There you go. Okay? You all go as a family. There. Can't say we're separating families anymore. Bruce in Woburn. Thanks for holding, Bruce, and welcome. How are you, Bruce?
I'm doing awesome. You know why?
Why,
you know
Bruce?
Why I like life, Jeff? Because I'm in it.
Bruce.
So here's my stay.
Go ahead, my friend.
Stay is they don't stay. I don't care whether they're criminals. They broke the law. They're not supposed to be here. And sin on Maura Healey and sin on that guy from California. They want to defy the government. They get what they gave to Trump. They get fired. I'm
Bruce,
just sick of it all, Jeff.
What about if they're working? I mean, that's the argument, that they have a job. So say they have two jobs. Really, I mean, like, in other words, they come here and all they do, they're working, they're holding down jobs, they got families, they're trying to feed their families, that they then deserve to stay. What say you?
Care if they got 10 jobs. They're not supposed to be here. You had to work and work hard to get your citizenship, as well as all my Indian friends, and they're all the ones that voted for Trump. This is insane. Basically, these people, they've had a free ride, and we're going to give them a free ride home. Get the hell out of my country.
America for Americans. Bruce, thank you very much for that call. Okay, I was going to go to Verna, but I'm up against it, so I don't want to rush it. All right, let me ask you, pressure is already building on Trump and Homan to not follow through completely on their mass deportation plan. They're saying, fine, do the violent criminals, the gangbangers, the drug dealers, but do not go after illegals who have a job or haven't been convicted of a felony while they're in the United States. Those people should be allowed to stay and not be deported. Do you agree? 617-266-6868. Homan says they all gotta go. I say yes. What do you say? 820 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, very quickly, because the lines are absolutely jammed. Trump is on offense. He's still got 2.5 months left to go before he's inaugurated, and he is on complete offense. It's incredible. He is putting together his team. He's putting it together at lightning speed. But the personnel now, you know, they say personnel is policy. He now is putting together really an all-star cabinet. I don't want to jump the gun. There are still many positions left open. The big one that everyone's looking at is going to be Attorney General. He can't get that one wrong. Other picks, you know, it's not the end of the world. But Attorney General, he's got to get the AG position correct. And so all eyes are going to be on who he picks to be the next Attorney General. But he's got Elon Musk now and Vivek Ramaswamy. They are going to be overseeing what they're calling now the Department of Government Efficiency, DOG. He's given them a mandate till July 4th, 2026. So on America's 250th birthday, he says that's their mandate. By then, he wants them to slash the entire federal bureaucracy by at least 25%, if not a full 50%, which would be transformational, near miracle. It would be absolutely revolutionary in terms of innovating, modernizing government, cutting fraud, waste, abuse, fat. Many government bureaucrats now and employees in the federal government are petrified because they know that many of them don't do any work or very little work, and their days now could be coming to an end. And so he's got this almost super cabinet position set up, led by Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. Homan now is going to be border czar. You have Kennedy, who's going to be a Robert F. Kennedy Jr., health czar, who's going to oversee HHS, the FDA. He's going to go after Fauci. So what we're seeing now, Ratcliffe has been named a CIA director. He's got a mandate now to clean out the deep state. He's a Trump loyalist. Marco Rubio is going to be the Secretary of State. You have Kristi Noem, Department of Homeland Security. Huckabee now, former Governor Mike Huckabee has been named as America's ambassador to Israel. The Israelis are absolutely jubilant. Elise Stefanik has now been named America's ambassador to the United Nations. Absolutely outstanding pick. So he is now clicking on all cylinders. But at the linchpin, at the very top of his agenda is the border and mass deportations. And that's why in many ways Homan has the most important portfolio outside of the Attorney General and of course J.D. Vance as Vice President. And Homan is saying this will be an all-out war to the finish. He will not compromise. He will not hold back. They are going to implement every phase of their deportation, and they will not stop until every single illegal alien is out of the United States. Do you agree with this strategy and this plan, or do you think it's too much and too ambitious? Verna in Arlington. Thanks for holding, Verna, and welcome.
Hey, hi there, Jeff, and hi to everybody, Kuhner Country. Thank you so much, always. And I have a couple of comments, and my important point I'll get to in just a second. First of all, I want to say thank you for asking us to call the Capitol yesterday. I made several calls. Thank you for that information. When it comes to the illegal migrants that people have so much, quote-unquote, compassion for, what about all the people that are being harmed? What about the concept of tough love, people? So many people came in legally. It is a slap in the face when we do this, allow people compassion to come in. It's not compassion. Let's use tough love here. And I want to say, there's many, as you know, I'm partly Armenian by background. There's many Armenian immigrants here. My father, my mother, after the genocide, came in legally. People with legitimate reasons to escape their problems. I want to say also on Election Day last Tuesday, for the third election in a row, I was out in Arlington Center holding a sign for Trump. It was a very interesting experience. My important point, and I want to make this, and I wanted to see your confirmation or your take on this as well, and I believe other people, but I'm wondering why people aren't making more of a point, I believe, of this. The Biden-Harris administration were criminals by allowing crime, by allowing and open the door for illegal aliens to just walk on in, southern and northern border. Why isn't more being made of this? And one other point I want to say, please pray for the pregnancy centers. Maura Healey's administration here in Massachusetts is putting a lot of pressure on the pregnancy centers, and they want to just dig up dirt arbitrarily. But please speak to the part of Biden administration and the left literally being criminals and committing crime.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Verna, I'm going to answer it on the other side. I'm up against a hard break, but I think you've put your finger really on it. The $64,000 question. And so, what will be done to Biden, to Mayorkas, to Harris, for them being utterly complicit in bringing in criminals who murdered and killed Americans? 8:31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. Okay, Trump now on the offensive, and God bless him. The media is in a full-blown panic, and they should be. Trump now has given Homan the green light. It is going to be the biggest, largest deportation of illegal aliens in the history of the United States. It is going to dwarf what Eisenhower did during the 1950s. And he deported several million. This is going to be much more than several million. Now, Verna asked me, I thought, the $64,000 question, which is, Jeff, what about the role that Mayorkas and Biden and Harris and others in being complicit, utterly complicit, aiding and abetting the criminal invasion of our country? They were part of a criminal conspiracy. And I think there's no question. There's no question. You know, that's why I always say this. I don't just blame the illegals. I don't. I mean, I think they should be blamed, of course. But I blame the leadership, the Democratic leadership under Biden and Harris. On day one of Biden's presidency, he came out and said, come on down. The door is open. We're not going to stop anybody, literally anybody. You make it here, we're going to let you stay, and then you can apply for refugee status or go to an immigration judge. So he basically legalized, de facto legalized, illegal aliens pouring and flooding and invading our country. And many just walked in. They just literally walked in. They didn't even go to a port of entry. Now, in reality, let me tell you exactly what this led to. It led to Laken Riley being killed. It led to Joycelyn Nungare being killed. It led to woman after woman, young woman in particular after young woman, in many cases raped and then brutally murdered. It led to children here in Massachusetts specifically being molested and raped by pedophiles that Joe Biden let in. Because remember, they were not vetted. This is the most incredible thing about the last 4 years. None of these illegals were ever checked, vetted, had any criminal background checks. This is why you have so many angel moms who you see on television devastated. You can tell their heart is shattered. Their face ashen, deep, dark circles under their eyes. Dead son, dead daughter, whatever it may be, dead sibling. And they said a simple phone call. When the person came in through the port of entry, literally pick up the phone. And they would have seen that this person had a rap sheet as long as my arm. That they had multiple convictions in their own home countries. And I don't mean jaywalking or burglary or robbery or petty theft. I mean murder convictions, rape convictions. These were sex offenders or notorious MS-13 or Tren de Aragua or Mexican cartel gangbangers. Now, this is undeniable. It's undeniable. This is like saying the sky is blue. There's nothing to discuss or debate. That's what they let in. Now, I'm telling you, I don't care whether Joe Biden, I mean, actually, I do care. But if he wants to pardon his crackhead son, Hunter, I'm not going to shed a tear. I want Joe Biden in jail. I mean, I want Hunter Biden in jail as well, because he's a traitor who sold our country down the river. But I'm telling you, forget Ukraine, forget China, forget everything, all of the crimes, how they framed Trump as an agent of Russia, how they illegally spied on him, how they launched lawfare against him, how they launched his campaign to try to put him behind bars on trumped up, fabricated charges, how they tried to assassinate him. Let all that go, okay? Just all of it. I want Joe Biden in the dock. I want Mayorkas in the dock. I want Kamala in the dock. I want them all in the dock because they committed treason against the people and nation of the United States by allowing this invasion of 20 million illegals to take place. And the fentanyl that's come in, the drugs that have come in, 100,000 dead Americans every single year. Just from the fentanyl that comes in through that wide open southern border. Made in China, sent to the drug cartels, and the Mexican drug cartels then bring it across our southern border. And Joe Biden never lifted a finger to stop it. In fact, he allowed it all to happen. So am I in favor of Donald Trump declaring war on the cartels? You better believe it. Am I in favor of Trump deploying the military to secure that border, putting American soldiers on domestic soil, and then using the military to hammer the cartels and wipe them out? 1,000%, baby. And apparently the woke military brass is, they're having secret meetings, informal meetings. We got to block them. We're not using American soldiers on American soil. Oh, yes, we are. Because you're going to do your job for once in your life. The American military was not created, glory to Ukraine. The American military wasn't created to defend the borders of Ukraine, or the borders of Iraq, or the borders of Syria, or the borders of Lebanon, or the borders of Germany. But, you know, we have American troops still protecting Germany after all these years, or the borders of Afghanistan. No. The American military was created to protect the borders, sovereignty, and the people of the United States. That's its numero uno job. Number one. And the Mexican drug cartels pose a mortal threat. And who are the fifth columnists that let them in? Who are the quislings, the collaborators who allowed them in? It was Biden. It was Harris. It was Mayorkas. And look, no one is celebrating Trump's victory more than the Kuhner man, believe me. But to the House Republicans, eternal shame. That they never impeached Biden is going to be a permanent stain on them. That they never even managed to impeach and remove Mayorkas, that traitor, is to me a permanent stain on them. So, do I think they belong in jail? You better believe it. Every single one of them. Homan's first raid shouldn't be at some MS-13 stronghold in Los Angeles or whatever, in New York or here in Boston. No. It should be at Rehoboth Beach at Biden's summer house. That should be his first raid. We're arresting you for criminal conspiracy to invade the United States. Slap the handcuffs. Now, let me make one last point, and then I promise I want to go back to the phone lines. 617-266-6868 is the number. Leave aside everything else. One important aspect of this entire debate and conversation that's being left out is, you know, they say, well, they come here illegally, but Jeff, they have a job. They're making $14 an hour. And, you know, and they just want to be contributing, productive members of society. Right. So you tell me, when they get sick, do they pay out of pocket? I'm just curious. They're living here in Massachusetts. $14 an hour, which doesn't get you very far. Because as you know, the cost of living is sky high. Rent is a bomb in this state. Okay? Buying a home is a bomb. Housing is a bomb. Unless you're an illegal and they set you up in one of Healy's hotels, then it's all free. But if you're, you know, no, they're just working, Jeff. They're not taking any other benefit. They're just working. Okay, say they get sick. They're going to pay out of pocket? No. Say they have kids. What, they pay out of their pocket to send their kids to school? No. My point is, the illegals that are already here, I don't care if they have a job, don't have a job. They are overwhelming our hospitals. They're overwhelming our medical facilities, our emergency rooms. They're overwhelming our schools. They're overwhelming our basic social services. And this is not even a debate. I can easily prove it to you. Every night, tonight's going to be a cold night. We had a nice little semi-heat wave, for November, last couple of weeks. Okay, it was more like like what they call an Indian summer. More like a late summer. Now it's really fall, approaching winter. It's going to be cold tonight. 100 yards. 100 yards from the mayor's office in Boston, you can see the homeless veterans sleeping in cardboard boxes. Right there. Veterans don't have places to sleep, but every single illegal has a shelter, a motel, or a hotel. Disgusting. 8:50 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. The text line is on fire. This is from 603. You can text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. I take it this person obviously is a truck driver. Jeff, let me dish on one of Massachusetts' dirty little secrets. My job involves delivering ingredients in bulk to processed food manufacturers in 4 of the New England states. When I do deliveries to the companies in Massachusetts, without exception, every one of them are overwhelmingly staffed with non-English speaking illegal aliens. And have been for years. But when you see the people in upper management of these very same companies, they're all Americans. They're all doing very well. They're driving their nice cars, living their nice upper class lives, all while using illegal aliens as a low wage labor force. Bingo. It's not about compassion. It's about the money. Follow the money. Corporate America, big business, has been getting filthy rich off of the cheap labor of illegals. And the fact that they have devastated the working middle class of this country, they couldn't care less. And as somebody wrote to me on Messenger, and I think said it very well, bringing in 10 million illegal aliens is not worth the life of a single American. How many Americans have died because of illegal immigration? The numbers are staggering, whether it be murders, assaults, drugs, fentanyl, trafficking, human trafficking, sex trafficking. What they have done to our people and this country is unforgivable. And that's why we have a unique opportunity now to deport every single one of them. Now is the time, all the way, deport every single illegal. Agree, disagree. Jake in Gloucester. Thanks for holding, Jake, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Jake.
Jeff, I know you deserve a vacation. I want to thank you and all the people that I talked to that listen to you. The work you've done during this campaign is unbelievable. You've worked tirelessly, and for us, for the American people, I want to send a personal thank you for what you've done.
Oh, thank you, Jake.
And I have no objection to you taking any time off you want. I know you bring the ratings, and you're afraid of that, but we appreciate. You have no idea how much we appreciate what you've done. You've worked hard. Sandy's worked hard, Mike. So a big thank you. Now, I disagree slightly with this whole premise of getting rid of all the illegals, and here's why. If you remember, Jeff, when Biden became president, the illegal president, I should say, he said to or even before that, he said, storm the border, flood the border to all these people from Central America and around the world. And most of these people are uneducated. They listen to the drug cartels, the people paying them to come in, or them paying them to come in. So a lot of these people, millions of them, are uneducated that really were coming because Biden said so, because the Democrats were encouraging them to come. And those ones that came through the ports of entry, not the ones that went through the river or the mountains or the grass are snuck in. None of those cartel people. I'm talking about the people that went through the ports of entry and gave their correct names. Yeah, they're lying about the asylum. We know that. But they gave their correct names. They didn't try to hide who they were. They had children and so forth. We got to turn this around as a positive for this country. It has nothing to do with compassion. I don't have any compassion for people who come here illegally. But now, Trump, here's my opinion. What Trump has to do is turn this around to ensure that, number one, this won't happen again. But number two, if you remember 1900, millions and millions of Irish, Italian, German, English immigrants came here to Ellis Island, as my grandparents did. What they had to do was show proof of ID. They had to show that they didn't have any diseases. But most important, Jeff, they had to show that they weren't a charge on the state. That's the expression they used back then. That they weren't going to cost the taxpayers any money. They had friends or relatives that were going to take them in. They had job opportunities and so forth. What we've got to do is Trump has to give a speech directed at the people that came through the ports of entry, that gave their names. That, no, you're not going to become citizens. You're going to have to come back and register. You're going to have to prove that you won't be a ward to the state. Let's use this as a positive. Give them 3 to 6 months to come back and give their legal names and tell them if they get a job and they work hard as Americans with no help from the state, they will be given an opportunity to stay here, work hard, and maybe in a few years ahead apply for citizenship. Use them, because now, if that happens, Jeff, the national corrupt media cannot turn around and say, look what an ogre Trump is, look what a dictator he is, because he's going to give these people a chance that came through and gave their correct names, and also, of course, have no criminal background, which I don't know what the percentage are. I don't know how many millions came through the ports of entry and gave their correct names. I don't know. I'm sure it's millions. So I think that to use that as a positive, so the Republican Party can be seen as compassionate. And I'm not saying I'm compassionate. I'm saying we have a chance for the next 20 years, because Republicans do much better for this country than any Democrat has ever done. Republicans have produced the greatest presidents in our history. Trump has a chance to become maybe, perhaps, the greatest president we ever had. And I think if they do that, if they direct their speech at these so-called illegals, that they have to come here, they have to re-register. We'll give you 6 months to prove that you're not a ward of the state. You'll have a chance to stay here and set down the parameters of why they can stay here. So I don't know the numbers, but that's my overall feeling of what we have to do to turn this mess, this nightmare, into a positive. Then we can say, thank you, Democrats. You sent us people who are going to work hard, who are going to vote for the Republican Party, who will look at Trump as a hero. I think we have an opportunity right now to turn this whole thing around, Jeff, at least part of it, and say, look, Trump does have compassion, but only for people who want to become legal. What do you think of that, Jeff?
Well, it's an interesting idea, and it's very similar to what John said yesterday, the final caller, and I got a lot of reaction, and that's why I decided to say, you know what, I'm going to do this topic for the show today, because I think it's just a great conversation for us to have. Basically, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Jake, but what you're saying is, look, yes, deport the violent criminals, the gangbangers, the drug dealers, no question. People that are a ward on the state, people that are mooching off of us, they all got to go. But those that really want to work hard and that are working, they have a job, and they've committed no other crimes, give them a chance to re-register, as you put it, and give them the equivalent of a work visa. I think that's what you're really saying. Give them a work visa. You're not making them citizens. You're not even making them permanent residents. But you're saying, look, here's a work visa. So you've now gone from illegal to legal. And if you continue to work hard and you're not a ward on the state, you're not a burden, not a ward of the state, you're not on welfare, you're not taking food stamps, you're not taking Section 8, you're paying your own way, you're paying your own freight, then we can maybe give you a chance at a green card. Maybe not, full citizenship, you get the right to vote, but we'll give you a crack at a green card and you become a permanent resident. And maybe eventually citizenship, or maybe your children will become citizens. And this way, Trump blunts the media argument, the attack, which is coming. Oh, look at this guy. He's sending back everybody, even hardworking people, even children, even mothers. Everybody's being sent back. And Trump can turn around and say, no, I sent back the violent criminals, the drug dealers, the gangbangers, the rapists, and those that were clearly mooching off the system, who were draining the system, taking advantage of our massive welfare benefits. And those that want to work, want to contribute, I'm going to turn them into lawful immigrants. Maybe not citizens, but they're going to get a work visa. And if they continue to be good, maybe even a green card. And your argument is, Jeff, that will A, show Trump's humanity, B, really cut off a good part of the media's attack on him, shield it or blunt it, and 3, maybe make himself more attractive to, let's say, Latino voters or even these voters that he's basically pardoning by giving them legal status and turning them into natural Republicans, correct?
Basically it. And also, isn't it interesting, over the past 4 years, the corrupt media has now talked about 300 or 400,000 children separated from their parents, but when 10 children were separated when Trump was president, they went crazy. They haven't mentioned this at all. At all.
That's a great point.
And it's unbelievable. Already, Jeff, before Trump even takes the oath of office, they're talking about Trump's going to separate the kids. He's going to orphan the kids. I mean, it's a disgrace. The corrupt media. One last thing, Jeff. Trump has to sign either an executive order or his House and Senate have to pass a law that it's called the Truth in Broadcasting, because if the national media that's licensed by the FCC, if they lie intentionally and we can prove it, they lose their license. I don't know who's he going to appoint as the commissioner of the FCC.
It's going to be another key appointment. You're completely right, Jake. Jake, thank you very much for that call. So, look, let me ask all of you. See, and this is why I'm happy I took Jake's call, because that's what some of you in Kuhner country are saying, and that's what, others are saying as well. Don't deport every single one. There are some, make a slice of the illegal alien population in the United States that maybe Trump should be generous to, or give an exemption and give them some kind of a work visa or some kind of a legalization status if they're willing to stay, work hard, and not be a ward of the state or take advantage of our welfare benefits. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? You know my position. A squatter is a squatter is a squatter. An illegal is an illegal. Whether they have a job, don't have a job, to me, they all gotta go. That's my point of view. But I want to hear from you. 617-266-6868. Okay. I've been looking forward to this all morning. Joining me now, as she always does at this time, Dr. Grace, putting liberals in their place. Grace Vuoto, my better half. You know her. You love her. She's got a brand new column up. I'm urging all of you, please read it. It is called The Mandate. It is an absolutely brilliant piece on the meaning of Trump's victory. And you can find it, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in national ER. We just posted it maybe 3 hours ago. Dr. Grace, as always, how are you?
I am very well. I was sitting drinking a coffee overlooking a beautiful American flag near the Starbucks that I go to every morning, and there it was, flapping in the wind with the sunshine beaming on it, and it had a whole new meaning right now that Donald Trump is going to be entering the White House, because when I look at that flag, it seems that we're about to restore America, and I think his agenda isn't just make America great again, it really is make America America again.
Well, you really nail that point in your piece. That's why I thought your piece was so well written. And I love your phrase, America for Americans. And that's really what Trump is, the essence of his agenda, the essence of his message, and the essence of his mandate. And as you put it, that's the essence of the America First MAGA movement. It really is America for Americans. All races, all ethnicities, men, women, young, old, gay, straight, but really put the interests of American citizens and Americans, all of us, first, correct?
That's correct, Jeff. And when you think about illegal immigration and what we've done in the last few decades, we've actually trampled on the American Revolution, because what was the core principle of the American Revolution? It was no taxation without representation. The colonists said, listen, if we're not represented in governance, then you're not going to take our money. Well, what have we done with illegal immigration? It's a form of no representation, because you're taking taxpayer dollars and giving it to non-citizens. That is a violation of a core American principle. Every individual has rights. The individuals here who pay taxes, that's their money, and they are the ones to be represented in government. And we need to restore that.
Oh, that's a great point. So let me ask you this, Grace. Where do you side on this issue? You just heard Jake from Gloucester. You heard John yesterday from New Hampshire. You and I talked about it yesterday. You kind of inspired me to do the show today on this very issue. Tom Homan, the border czar, Trump is saying, no, we'll make no exemptions, no exceptions. Whether you work, don't work, whether you're taking benefits or not taking benefits. If you came here illegally, we are going to deport you. Now, we're going to give you a grace period. We're going to go after the violent criminals first, the gangs, the drug dealers. That's going to be first. But within 3 or 6 months, when we're done with them, we're going to come after every illegal in this country. Agree, disagree.
Are we going to be a nation of laws, yes or no? And that's what this Trump, the next presidency, has to be about. We have to restore the basic principle that if there is a law on the books, it actually is meaningful. Otherwise, we're sliding into third world territory. That's what happens all over the world. Hundreds of laws, none of them being respected. And we're seeing the same phenomenon here. So we have an immigration legal structure. It should consist of just a few laws, and they all have to be enforced. Very simple. That's what we used to do. Efficiency, accountability, and the laws applied equally to all. I mean, one of the reasons Trump won, too, is we're tired of this multi-tiered system of justice. You know, Trump was not beneath the law, but he was treated as though he was beneath the law because there was a double standard when it came to prosecuting him. Well, when it comes to illegals, how many systems of justice do we have? Do we have one set of laws, yes or no? I think the answer is very clear and very simple. We have to respect the American legal structure. So keep those laws short, brief, and to the point, and you have to enforce them. Otherwise, you cause massive disrespect of all laws. And there's no such thing as, you know, the illegal who comes in here and then is just getting a job and now requires all our sympathy. Why? In order to maintain that job, they probably committed a lot of other crimes too. One crime begets another crime begets another crime. Was there tax evasion? Was there identity theft? You know, I think just keep it simple. You have to respect American laws, period.
Grace, and you know I agree with you completely, but let me just play devil's advocate, because the Wall Street Journal did a big editorial on this. You have many Republicans up on Capitol Hill who are very sympathetic to this argument, and the media as well is going to be pushing this argument hard. There's going to be a lot of support for Trump when he rolls against MS-13, Tren de Aragua, the drug dealers, the convicted felons, no question. But once he starts going into neighborhoods in which you're going after the mother and the father, say they have jobs, they're working. I know it's illegal under the table, but they're working. They have kids in school. The images of the kids crying, the images of the parents crying, the images of the neighbors saying, or their employer saying, hey, they came to work every day. They work 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You know, they don't bother anybody. They're just hardworking who want to provide for their families. They fled, say, Venezuela or Colombia or some other, violent riddled country. That's going to start tearing apart this majority consensus. that many Americans are going to find it offensive, they're going to find it cruel, heartless, and that public support will turn on Trump and on his deportations. That's the argument that they make. What do you say to that argument?
Well, Jeff, I think that if we're going to start applying the laws equally, then there won't be as much of a backlash as you might think, because when we talk about that, we also have to go against the corporations that are violating American laws, those that are not actually screening to make sure that they are employing citizens. And so I think that if we see that the laws are being applied to the rich as much as they're being applied to the poorest of the poorest new arrival immigrants, then there'll be a sense like, look, that's just the way it has to be. But what we're seeing often is that corporate America gets to play by one set of rules, and then other Americans don't. And so this election isn't just about the illegal immigrants. It's about these corporations and employers that are trying to make a profit off the back of Americans. And if we see Trump taking a stand against corporate America, the globalist corporatists, as I talk so much about that in my column as well, then there won't be as big a backlash, because there'll be a sense that there's a sheriff in town and we have a set of laws that have to be applied to the rich, to the poor, to the illegal immigrants, to everybody, applied equally and applied fairly. And I think there'll be a lot of widespread support for that.
Less than a minute, so I really need you to be very pithy. What do you say to again, I'm being devil's advocate. Your dad, God bless him, Luigi, called him Lou. Lou came, very poor country, Italy after World War II. He came as an economic immigrant for a better life. He did it for you and your sister and your sisters. Why will you deny that to people, say, from Latin America or Africa or Asia, who just want the same dream as your father?
You know, Jeff, when you mention my father's name, I hear his big booming voice blaring in my head to this day, on a daily basis, by the way. And now I heard him say, order, order. Do you know how many times he told me that without order in the house and in everything that I did, I would never make progress? My father was a believer in good order, and he was a believer in another word I heard ringing in my head ever since I was a child: obedience. You obey the laws. You obey authority.
Dr. Grace putting liberals in their place, although he didn't say it in English. He said it in that Calabrese dialect in Italian. He did have a booming voice, by the way. He was a great man. Dr. Grace, thank you. Your reaction next. 9:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Denise in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Denise, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff, I'm so happy Trump won in a landslide. What a great ending. Oh, my God. Jeff, I hope he crushes the cartel, okay? That's real important to me. And I think he won in a landslide because of the immigration and with the drugs coming over here and all that stuff. And that's what I believe. And I believe that, he should get rid of the murderers, the rapists, all those bad people out of here first, and then work on there are some good people. There are some good people here. And I don't know, Jeff. My granddaughter's in a motel, and she can't afford an apartment, her and her boyfriend. And she has to pay like $1,700 for a motel, and they're giving free everything to these illegals, which really bothers me. I'm going to stop making phone calls about it, but I make a lot of phone calls, like you said yesterday. I did that. So I'm a fighter, and I guess they were down. Well, my group of people were down the the State House Sunday, rallying against Healy. So I guess that turned out pretty good. And we had a big celebration in Salem, New Hampshire last Saturday. It was unbelievable. I estimate 1,000 people there. So, Jeff, I just wanted to bring up something that was brought up, like they were talking about this. Do you think Trump's going to pardon Hunter? Because I don't want him to.
No, he's not. No, I think Biden's going to pardon Hunter. Trump is not going to pardon Hunter. I'd be shocked. I think what Trump is going to do, he's going to pardon the J6ers. I think he's going to pardon.
I want that. I want that, Jeff. I want the January 6th to be pardoned, but I don't want him to be pardoned because I want him to sit in prison like my son did for possession of a firearm. And my son was a heroin addict. He's doing great. He's been over 10 years clean. He's doing great. He's unbelievable. He's supervisor, contractor in Boston, big contracting business. He's doing unbelievable. I'm so proud of him. But you know what, Jeff? I went through hell, and all these people in prison right now that's in there for the same thing. Why should he get away with anything? And that really will blow my mind if he does. It pardons him. It would. I will write letters. I will do everything I can, but there's no way he should not pardon him.
I agree with you. Not 100, Denise. 1,000%. And look, to me, it's for two reasons. Number one, he's pardoning his own son. So, I mean, just think about how grossly immoral and unethical that is. It's self-dealing. That's number one. Number two, remember this, Denise. Biden didn't just say it once. He said it again and again and again. He said, I will not pardon my son. Okay. So now, I think he's a liar because that's who Joe and what Joe Biden is. He's a liar. Pathological, incorrigible liar. But it'll permanently stain his record. It'll be a permanent stain on his presidency that he pardoned his own son, number one, and number two, that he did it after he publicly vowed and promised on his honor. He gave his word, his honor, that he wouldn't do it. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I think it would be it would be revolting if he did it. And I don't care, even if he pardons him, remember, it's just on the gun charge and the tax charge, which is very serious. Don't get me wrong. To me, no, the bigger crime of Hunter Biden, which he has not even been charged with anything, is the influence peddling, the bribery, the corruption, the treason. He was the bag man for Joe Biden and the Biden crime family to sell this country down the river to Ukraine, to Russian oligarchs, to the communist Chinese, to Romanian and Kazakh oligarchs. So, my advice to Trump would be, if Biden pardons him on the gun and the tax charges, you go after him for treason and bribery and influence peddling. And that's going to be a life sentence. There's no getting around that. So honestly, Denise, my advice to Trump is no. If Biden's going to go down that dark road and pardon his disgusting crackhead criminal son, then you say, you know what? Now I'm going to really throw the book at him. That's why, Denise, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is his pick for attorney general. Outside of his pick for the vice president, J.D. Vance, is the most important pick of his entire cabinet. He can get other picks wrong. He cannot get this pick wrong. It's got to be somebody who's got guts, who's aggressive, who's not afraid of the swamp, who's not afraid of the deep state, who doesn't care what the media thinks about him. He needs a pit bull, an absolute pit bull, a fearless bulldog as his attorney general. And so that's the one position. Honestly, that's what everybody's looking at. Everybody's looking at that AG pick. So fingers crossed. Denise, thank you very much. And I'm so happy that your son, I know it's been a while, but still that your son is back on his feet, clean and sober, and gotten over the drugs and the heroin. And you should be very proud of him, because that takes a tremendous amount of willpower and character to do that. 617-266-6868. Don't touch that dial. 31 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, cleaning up the liberal bull. All right, President Trump now, I kid you not, the Trump plane has now landed in Washington. Well, actually, and Joint Base Andrews, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. But anyway, he's landed in Washington. He now returns to D.C. He is going to be meeting with House Republicans and with Joe Biden later today. And as I speak to you now, Senate Republicans are now deciding behind closed doors in secret who to be the next Senate Majority Leader. So it's only going to be a first ballot vote. No one appears to have 27 votes on the first ballot, which is what you need to win. It looks likely it's going to go to a second ballot. However, because of this incredible audience, and, you know, Elon Musk, Tucker Carlson, all their people as well, no question. But because of the work that we've done, we may have now flipped enough senators to Rick Scott's camp, into supporting Rick Scott, that Rick Scott may finish second. The count a couple days ago was John Thune leading, Cornyn number 2. They're both rhinos. And of course, the Trump loyalist, Rick Scott, in third. We may have switched enough votes to go from third to second. Why? And this is so important. The person that finishes third is automatically disqualified from the running. And then on the second ballot, it will be a 2-person race. And in a 2-person race, we have a real shot then with Rick Scott. So we shall see how the vote goes. Fingers crossed. 617-266-6868. Susan in Whitman. Thanks for holding, Susan, and welcome.
Hey, you and Grace are 100% right. Put them all back. Where I work at a senior living community, and the illegals that are coming there to work, nobody speaks English. How are you vetting them? How do you have their Social Security? The place where my husband works, which is construction, one of the guys winded up being on the news for raping. He was at Christmas parties. I was near this man. Listen to the people. Listen what's on the ground. Listen, hear, look, watch. That's the truth. Send them all back. I don't give a crap. My friends that came here legally had to pay tens of thousands of dollars, get sponsors, and they're from all over the world, and they're wonderful people, and they have their own businesses, and they're successful, and they work their asses off.
Susan, I couldn't have said it better myself. Amen. Amen, sister. 617-266-6868. Look, I think really Grace nailed it. You know, I mean, look, her father was an immigrant, you know, to Canada, but still, her mother was an immigrant to Canada, but still, my parents, immigrants, Grace and I, immigrants to America. Well, we did everything the right way. Our parents did everything the right way. Her parents did everything the right way. So, you know, I'm sorry. I mean, and you don't think life was hard in Europe after World War II? Poverty, war, destruction, refugees everywhere. I mean, it was a nightmare for years after World War II. Hunger, starvation. So, you know, I'm sorry, but if you start thinking and applying the mentality, oh, they have it tough back home. 90% of the countries in the world, they have it tough back home. So what are we going to do? Invite the whole world? I'm sorry. You come in legally or you don't come in at all. Period. Carol in Bridgewater. Thanks for holding, Carol, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, Carol.
I just wanted to say, send them all back. We have to send them all back because if you give an inch, the Democrats will take a mile as soon as they get a chance to work it in, and the corrupt media will twist it that we have to find new loopholes. People will find a way to say that they came here, you know, in the same manner that they've worked or done something. We can't because it's illegal, and that's that, and we can't set the precedence for that right now. Also, look at mass as a magnet for bringing people in because of welfare and everything. We're going to be giving them all their benefits and everything and taking care of them. We can't afford it. Look at our roads. 1 out of 7 drivers, when I'm stuck in traffic, look like they may be foreign to me. And I see people put on right blinkers and come into the left lane. And I look at them and they look like they may be from another country, the way they just look dazed. So we're taxing our infrastructure. We're utilizing more water. We don't have enough housing. Rent goes up. Food goes up, and they get it for free. I'm just so tired of the whole thing. We need to stop the insanity.
Oh, Carol, you're on a roll. You really are. And look, you're right. Look, the potholes, the condition of the roads, the hospitals, the emergency rooms are completely overrun. Our school systems are now, they're taxed to the breaking point. They got so many illegals now in the schools that our schools they're going to burst. And you're right. You mentioned all these people that are coming in. There's no housing. Rent has skyrocketed. People can't afford to live. You can't get a hotel anymore because most of these illegals live in a hotel or a motel. The emergency shelter system is at 100% capacity. Look, I did that show last Friday with these poor disabled veterans, and they're like, Jeff, you don't understand. We can't even get shelter because Maura Healey has set aside all the shelter for the illegals, for the so-called migrants. And by the way, watch, and this is, doctors are saying this, not the Kuhner man. Diseases that we once stamped out are coming back. Polio is coming back. Measles. I could run down the whole list because we're bringing in so many of these migrants, and it's not their fault. But they come from dirt poor countries where they don't even have the basic vaccinations that we all have in this country. So they're bringing all kinds of diseases with them on top of everything else. And we're not going to start deporting these people? No, of course we are. And I'm telling everybody, if we don't deport them now, we're never going to deport them. This is really now or never. And that's why when I heard that Trump picked Tom Homan, I'm like, he's going for the win. The kill shot, as they say. Homan is a closer. Homan knows exactly what needs to be done, and he's got the guts, the toughness, the fortitude, the determination, the will to do it. So all we need to do now is give him the intellectual, political cover, the support that he needs to fulfill his mission. Carol, I have not forgotten about you and I. The last time we were at that Republican meeting, I said, we're going to have a drink. We're going to talk. We're going to celebrate. I have not forgotten, Carol. Things have been crazy, busy, hectic for the Kuhner man. But I want you to know I don't know how or when, but we're definitely going to meet and have a coffee and talk. Is that okay, Carol?
It's great.
Yeah, Carol, please don't think I forgot about. I know what you were saying, hey, Jeff, we haven't spoken in so long. And I said, look, I'm definitely going to make time to see you. It's just been so insane, but we will make it happen. Okay, Carol, I promise. Thank you, Carol. God bless you. Okay, take care. She's a great activist. Carol is one of the best activists. She was with Trump from the very beginning. Every rally, she's there. Every speech I give, she's there. Anytime Kuhner country needs anything, she's there. And so, she said, hey, Jeff, we need to catch up a little bit. And, 15, 20 minutes. And I felt bad. It was one of these events and it was late. I was tired. I said, look, Carol, we'll have a coffee on me. And we just haven't been able to get the time. But I promise I will deliver on that promise, Carol. 617-266-6868. Michael in Lynn. Thanks for holding, Michael, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you, Sandy, and Mike for all you do. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. Yesterday I was getting a haircut, and the gentleman next to me was a 97-year-old WW2 veteran. What an honor it was. I paid for his haircut, but the gentleman gave me some great insight. Jeff, it is an honor. You got me through these 4 years of hard times, but my current wife is an immigrant from Brazil, and I spent 3 years, over $20,000 to get her citizenship. We did it the right way. She's on my health insurance. and the country she's from, Brazil, Lena right now is not a good president. He's a Biden. Bolsonaro is like a Trump. And, Jeff, it's just not right working every day and seeing these people driving the same vehicle, living the same life as me that works every day. You got me through these 4 years. God bless you, Grace, Sandy, Mike, your children, everything. And, Jeff, I can't thank you enough, sir.
Oh, Michael, thank you for your support, and God bless you and your wonderful wife. And that's pretty much how much I paid. Just over $20,000, just like what you paid for your wife to become a citizen of the United States. Yes, she did it the right way, and God bless her. Michael, the next 4 years are going to be great. I'm telling you, they're going to be great. And David Limbaugh posted on X, Rush Limbaugh's brother, and he said, can everybody feel it? There's like an American renaissance taking place. We can see it, we can taste it, we can feel it, we can sense it, and that's what's happening. It's an American renaissance. And it's going to take time. It's not going to be done overnight. But we are going to make America great again. And these illegals, bye-bye, adios. 9:49 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare. 617-266-6868. Barbara in Baltimore. Thanks for holding, Barbara, and welcome.
And thanks for taking my call. I've been listening to you all morning, and I'm going to tell you, take that vacation. That's constant thing. You know what? You take that vacation. Don't worry about the ratings. We love you. We will listen, and you take that vacation. Your family deserves it.
Thank you. Thank you, Barbara.
I just like to say this. Matt Whitaker or Ken Paxton for AG. I'm pulling for either one of those guys because they are ruthless pit bulls. They'll get it done. I do believe. And the other thing that I really called about, send them all back. And I've got some ideas as to how to do it. I start out by contracting all the cruise lines. Invite them all to a free trip because, you know, they're used to that free because we're giving away everything free. Invite them all to a free cruise line and line them up. That's Royal Caribbean, Carnival, all of them, Renaissance. Line them all up at every port and load them up. Give them a big old buffet meal and then dock. Right at the Panama Canal. Unload. What a boost that would be to the industry, to the travel industry. All the workers that would get jobs. From my lips to Trump's ears. That's a great way to do it. And Tom Homan, I love it. I love the way he handles the media. Don't you love it?
I got to tell you, Barbara, the way you and I are simpatico, you know, you come in right away, guns blazing, Matt Whitaker or Ken Paxton, I'm like, yep. Then you go on the cruise lines, put them on the cruise lines. You got me laughing. I'm bursting a gut here. I'm like, yep. And, you know, it just, and Homan, the way he just, I don't care what the media says. I just don't care. Barbara, you're a sister from another mother. Barbara, God bless you and thank you for that call. I really appreciate it. Caroline in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Caroline, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
So a friend of mine says that there's three sides to every coin. And the top is what everybody's been talking about for the last 4 hours. You know, these people that have come in that are poor and they've taken, you know, money and they're buying cars because they have guaranteed income and they've been given phones and that's covered pretty much. And there are good and there's bad and it's kind of complicated. But there's another issue. So there's another flip to the coin. This is the bottom side. And this is the, people that are also coming in that, for example, India, China, they're buying gas stations. If you go to New Hampshire, every gas station, I'm telling you, is owned by someone from India or from And where are the Chinese coming from? If you can't get out of China unless you're CCP, but I'm seeing an awful lot of people from China lately. How is that possible? Who are these people? Are they going to handle that side of it as well? Are they taking jobs from Americans? There's a lot of people. The other day I was talking to a woman at my job who's very distraught. It turned out that last May in Boston, her 20-something healthy-year-old daughter got dizzy, went to the hospital, swollen brain, and died. I think that's possibly vax. I'm meeting a lot of people who are very turbo cancers and whatnot, but that's Bobby Kennedy's area. But that opens up jobs, and where are these people coming from? And I think that's very concerning to me, and I would like very much for that to be addressed as well, because I think Americans are not getting the opportunity to buy these even houses. They're buying up our houses. They're buying up, it's the same thing that's happening in Ireland, by the way. In Ireland, there's now equal amounts of immigrants as there are to the Irish. And the Irish are old or young, or a lot of them have left to take jobs elsewhere, but they go back. And they can't even buy houses there. But there's a lot of issues going on outside of just these people that have come from other, South America and whatnot. So I'd really like to see that to be addressed. And there's one other immigration, sort of, it's more of a nationality, a duality type thing. But I think this is Christy Knowles, is her name, from South Dakota.
Christy Noem, Noem. Noem.
I like her. And as well as I'm sorry, but you said it a million times, Homan.
Homan, yeah, Homan. Homan.
He's amazing. But there's also things like in our past 4 years in our government, there were dual citizenships, and not just with, several countries, but one of them was Israel. And in Israel, if you have dual citizen, you are supposed to have declare loyalty to Israel first. So where was that loyalty to the United States? So that too has to be an issue. They have AIPAC, which Massey had brought up in the Tucker Carlson interview, where everybody, once they're in Congress, they have a representative from AIPAC who pretty much tells them what to do. These are very, very important issues that are homeland security, I guess, or security of the whole country. They need to be addressed. And I'm sorry to bring up something so important here when, everybody's talking about all these people that are coming up from South America, but I kind of feel that it's look here, not there.
Well, no, you're dead on. Look, Caroline, it opens up a whole different avenue of discussion that we need to talk about regarding immigration. You're completely right. Look, we've got 30 seconds, so let me just say this quick. I don't believe in dual loyalty, and I don't believe in dual citizenship. I don't. To me, you're either the citizen of one country or the other. And as for legal immigration, look, I'm a legal immigrant, but I do believe that we have to control legal immigration as well. On that note, bye-bye.